Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Sperbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. We're going to look at the week ahead from May 9th, which is Sunday, to May 16th, which is Saturday. And today is actually the 10th. So I apologize for not getting this out yesterday. But let's take a look. Oh, I have some wrens in my feeder here. They just grabbed my attention, actually. Oh, and now the phone is ringing, of course. Nothing I have to deal with. Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's take a look at the week ahead. So I'm going to share my screen. And if you just don't mind giving me a minute here. Let's see, week two. What is this? Hello, that's week 2. Awesome. Week 2, what's this? Week 2? Week 1, week 2. Okay. So let's see this. Okay, so before we get to the major things that are happening this week, I'm going to take a look at, hold on. I'm going to take a look at the week ahead. Just a general scan of what's going on this week while you are looking at what you're looking at. So, all right, here we go. So on Sunday, we had the moon shift from Aries to Taurus. That shift occurred later in the evening, 7:47 p.m. on the East Coast of the U.S. So for a lot of people, the moon, for the people west of the East Coast, no, east of the East Coast, sorry, the moon was in Aries for most of the day, and then west of the East Coast, we had the moon going into Taurus later in the evening. So the moon was, the major aspect on Sunday was a square of the moon to Pluto. This occurs every month when the moon is in Aries, and that square is a first quarter crisis in action square. So Sunday, we felt the need to take an action to help build foundations for our new sense of empowerment. Today, Monday the 10th, the moon is in Taurus all day. Now, tomorrow we have a new moon in Taurus, meaning that today the moon is actually in the dark of the moon. This is a natural, in fact, the moon has been in the dark of the moon for a couple of days now, but this is a natural time of letting go, and garnering meaning from the last lunation cycle. That lunation cycle, of course, started with that new moon in Aries at 23 degrees of Aries. So very, very powerful new moon. It was conjunct Eris, it was conjunct Venus, very powerful new moon, and a very powerful new moon for the energy of the rising feminine. And we're seeing a lot of aggression towards the feminine. We can see that in the Republican Party, the way they're treating Liz Cheney. We can see that in places like Afghanistan, where I believe it was yesterday, there was a car bomb explosion in front of a girls' school that killed 85 girls, and I think maimed and injured and hurt 150 people. Terrible, just awful. If you haven't heard about it, you can check it out on Democracy Now! I haven't watched the regular news to see if they're even talking about it. So there's a lot of aggression against women at this time. And of course, as most people who are aware, when a woman fights back against their aggressor, that's the most dangerous time for a woman, right? When she finally decides that enough is enough, that's usually when the woman gets killed. So just keep that in mind, folks, as we see the feminine rising. Protect your girls, protect your children, protect the women in your life, protect yourself. Okay, so we have the moon in Taurus making a conjunction to the north node of the moon. Excuse me, the moon is in Taurus, and we have Mercury, sorry, in Gemini making a conjunction to the north node of the moon. Now that Mercury is in Gemini, and Mercury is the ruling planet of Gemini, and Gemini is the north node, is the sign of the north node. This is really about bringing out information and understanding and studying and communicating and following the curiosity stream, as it were, in the direction of things that you want to know about. And sometimes it's sometimes you can't find that information from the news or from reading a book, but you can find that information from just talking to people, right? Conversing. Gemini is all about communication, right? Okay, so that's important. Mars is, the moon is making a supportive sextile to Mars today. So that means the moon in Taurus, which is a security driven sign, makes a sextile to Mars in Cancer, which is a security driven sign. But it's a sextile, so it stimulates conversation. It stimulates conversation. We also have Mercury today making a sextile to Chiron, so we can communicate about the wounds and the woundedness and the rising feminine. And then the last aspect that the moon makes is a square to Saturn, a square to Saturn. This is a crisis in action square. What actions do we need to take? What actions do we need to take? On Tuesday, we have the new moon in Taurus. And we're going to get real specific into that new moon in Taurus. So don't worry about how I'm sort of gleaning over things right now. We also have the moon making a sextile to Neptune, which opens the lines of communication to spirit. And we have Mars making two aspects that sort of potentiates everything that's happening with this new moon. We have a square to Chiron, so we can have action to heal the wound, or we can have action to express the wound of Chiron and Aries, the masculine, the wounded masculine. In fact, this past weekend, I can't remember where it was, but a man went to a birthday party and I think killed 6 people with a gun and then killed himself. He might have been one of the 6 people that died. None of the children were harmed, but he did kill, I think, the girl who he had been dating or something. So again, more violence against women and children at the hands of men with guns or men with bombs and explosives, right? All of that sort of Aryan Mars stuff, okay? We also have Mars in Cancer making a sextile to Uranus. Now, this is opening the lines of communication sextile, but people may be communicating with Mars, guns, possibly. But certainly there is, if we get out of that sort of genre of guns and getting shot and all that stuff, this can very well be actions taken, right? Mars, to open the lines of communication to a new understanding of the earth and our relationship to her, Uranus in Taurus, or our relationship to the feminine. Women are not going to be sitting ducks anymore. We're not going to do it. So it's going to create a lot of challenges, I think. All right. So Wednesday, the moon shifts into Gemini. And we have a couple of aspects. We have, before that happens, we have the moon make a trine to Pluto, and a square to Jupiter. Jupiter is in the last degree of Aquarius right now. And then the moon moves into Gemini. We have a trine on Wednesday between Mercury and Saturn. This is a trine. This is a Leo side trine, so it's creative self-expression. It's also an opportunity to creatively express the structures needed to support our new sort of paradigm, this new sort of Jupiter Saturn paradigm that we're working in now, since Jupiter and Saturn made a conjunction at 1 degree of Aquarius back on the winter solstice here in the northern hemisphere, summer solstice in the southern hemisphere at the end of 2020. Thursday, the moon continues to move through Taurus, through Mercury. We also have on the 13th, we have a lovely sextile between the Sun and Neptune. This opens up the lines of communication to spirit, which is lovely. And we have the moon make a conjunction to the North Node. So now the moon is in the North Node area. So our feelings and our emotions are in the direction of the future. We have the moon make a sextile to Chiron. So part of the direction of the future, as we know, has to do with our ability to heal the wounds that are obviously around us. And then the big story on Thursday is that Jupiter moves into Pisces, and we'll get into that very, very deeply. Okay, so that was Thursday. So Friday the 14th, we have another shift of the moon. It moves into Cancer. That does occur later in the evening. So for all intents and purposes, for most of us, the moon is still in Gemini all day on Friday. And of course, that always stimulates conversation and curiosity and all kinds of information. There's all kinds of information coming to fore. There's all things we're finding out about. Some things that we suspected were true, we find out are true, and some things that perhaps we didn't even know are coming to light. So it's going to be a very illuminating time this May, and to a certain extent, very shocking. Saturday, May 15th, we have Mars make an inconjunct to Saturn. This is challenging because inconjuncts are really kind of about missing the mark. So this can be stress and tension between people who are trying to change things and move forward in a new direction, and the powers that be. So that can be an issue as well. And of course, the moon in Cancer is a very sensitive moon. So our sensitivity level is going up, right, with this. And the moon in Cancer with Mars in Cancer, although there's no exact conjunction of the moon and Mars, I don't think that happens till Sunday. It's sort of, our emotions are bigger and our actions are following our emotions, right? And so now that Mars is in Cancer, every time the moon changes, the way we act is influenced in a different way. And Cancer is about security, and Cancer is about family and mothers and children and nurturance. So these are the issues that will come up at the end of the week. Okay, so we did that. Now let's take a look at these specific things that are happening. I know you've been looking at something for a while here. So let's start here. So right now we're looking at, I just have to pull it up as a slideshow. My apologies. Here we are again. Oh, crap. Oh, I touched it, I tell you. All right, so a goldfinch in my window. Sorry, just the birds fly and I get distracted. Tuesday, May 11th, we have the new moon in Taurus, new moon in Taurus. Of course, new moons are starts of a new synodic cycle where we're planting seeds surrounding whatever issue that particular archetype, in this case, Taurus, symbolizes. Where is it in your chart? Wherever the let's see, 22nd degree, because this new moon is happening at 22 degrees of Taurus. Wherever 22 degrees of Taurus falls in your chart, you are starting a new cycle, a new synodic cycle. This synodic cycle between the sun and the moon is the shortest of the synodic cycles because it happens every month. So we have this particular new moon occurring at 22 degrees of Leo. Now, if we look at this chart right here to the right, we see that the sun and the moon is at 21:17. I just round that off, right, to the next degree, and that's the Sabian symbol. The Sabian symbol for 22 degrees of Taurus is a white dove flying over troubled waters. The spiritual inspiration that comes to the individual in overcoming of crises. And there are a lot of crises going on right now, a lot of crisis. Here we also are confronted with the symbol of guidance, and the dove flying over troubled water reminds us of the story of Noah and the ark. Noah met his and mankind's crisis courageously and in complete obedience to God's promptings. The test completed, he received the dove's message. It is a message from the Holy Spirit announcing a new dispensation. This symbolic scene can be applied to personal crisis resulting from emotional upheavals or from an eruption of unconscious forces and impulses into consciousness if the crisis has been faced in the right spirit. Of course, Uranus is that unconscious coming into consciousness, that oh my God, right? And Uranus is in Taurus. Uranus is in Taurus. And while it is not conjunct this, it's actually 11 degrees away, 10 degrees. Okay, so it is actually, if you spread out the orb of conjunction, it's in conjunction with this new moon. So Uranus does play a part in this, of course. And of course, Uranus is in Taurus. So as soon as Uranus moved into Taurus, what was that, 2018, Taurus started to vibrate with that Uranian energy. And so things started to shake. Things started to shake. And for those Tauruses, or you have Taurus in your chart, you're feeling it. You're feeling it. And so this is a pretty powerful thing to have. The other thing with this is we have Pluto trining this. So the energy of Pluto, the energy of transformation is there to help activate it. And remember, on this day, we have Mars making a sextile to, Mars is making a square to Chiron on this day. This is a crisis in action. Chiron in Aries can be the wounded masculine taking an action from a wounded place or taking an action from a healing place. So this is both an opportunity, this can be an opportunity to wound or to heal. Everybody has a choice in this. You have a choice. We have free will. And once we realize that, maybe we can actually choose something better. How about that? How about that for a concept? What else is going on that day? There's another, something else with Mars. What is it? I just saw it. Oh yeah, Mars, sextile Uranus. Hello? Taking an action from what? Uranus and Taurus. A wounded place, a traumatic place, a traumatized place, or an enlightened place. Uranus and Taurus. Enlightened. Okay, so it says here the second stage symbol is a contrast to the preceding one because it is not the product of a culture, a book, but instead the rhythmic of cosmic God-ordained cycles that reveals its conclusive beat through a living concretely significant sign, a reward to the faithful. So if you've been working on the healing of the wound, you will be rewarded. If you are working on, instead of trying to destructo, although some things do need to be destroyed, don't get me wrong, there are certain rules and regulations and ways of being that need to just go by way of the dinosaur, because we have outgrown them. But we have to first realize that we've outgrown them, right? So this is a very, very powerful new moon, very powerful new moon to put your intentions out there. What would your intentions be around? Well, let's just look at this chart. This is for Washington, D.C., right? But if we made this chart be a natural chart, right? Natural chart with the new moon sitting in that second house where it would naturally sit if Aries was on the ascendant. Taurus is about our relationship to ourself. It's about our self-worth and our self-esteem. It's also about our money and our values. And so we have a new set of values. The values of the world are changing. And we need to follow those, our new values. What have you realized is important to you now? What is more important? Is it important that you get another car or upgrade your car? Or is it important that you can leave the earth a better place for your grandchildren? I mean, what is your choice? What is your choice? I mean, you could get an electric car. That'd be a good choice for both of those things, right? Assuming the electricity is done, not from fracking and not from nuclear power and not from, going into some country and taking all their resources, that kind of stuff. But, we got to start somewhere, right, guys? We got to start somewhere. So on Wednesday, the 12th, incidentally, the vibration for the day that we have that new moon is a 21-3 vibration. Let me take you back for a minute. Numerologically, it's 21-3. That's the world card in the tarot. That's endings and beginnings. And it is associated with Saturn. And where is Saturn in this picture? We have Saturn in Aquarius. We have Saturn making a sextile to Chiron, and we have Saturn making an inconjunct to Mars. Mars in Cancer can be very personal Mars. It's a very personal Mars. And we have to keep in mind that it's just not our personal story, but that we're part of a collective. Saturn in Aquarius. Sorry, my mind just got a little. So on Wednesday, which the 12th, which is a 22-4 vibration, that's a Urania vibration. That's the Fool card in the tarot. We have Mercury trine Saturn at 14 degrees of Gemini Aquarius. And this is important because not only is it Gemini Aquarius, but Mercury just came off the North Node. So this is trining the North Node as well. Saturn trine Mercury, this is a Leo side trine. And so this is creative self-expression. And of course, Mercury is a very creative, is a very expressive energy, right? An expressive energy, especially in Gemini. So there are a lot of good ideas coming out. Not every idea is going to be the best idea, but there's a lot of good ones coming out there. And we have to learn to discern those ideas. And as Saturn and Mercury move through its synodic cycle, its next major aspect is going to be a sesquiquadrate. That's going to make some of the ideas that are coming up now, we're going to come to realize that they're not exactly right and that we need to make some adjustments. We're going to have an inconjunct between Mercury and Saturn. That's where the adjustments are made. And then eventually we're going to have Mercury and Saturn make an opposition, and we're going to see something come to fruition, right? So we're still working out this Mercury-Saturn energy. And Saturn is the structure of our reality, and Mercury is the information that we need to make determinations on the structure of our reality, how to change it, how to improve upon it, what it really looks like, those kind of things. This particular trine does stimulate creativity. Mercury is information and Saturn is structure. The Sabian symbol for 14 degrees of Gemini, which is where Mercury is bridging physical space and social distinctions. Two men communicate telepathically. This is about overcoming our differences and finding out where we vibrate, right, on the same place. The keynote here is the capacity to transcend the limitations of bodily existence. Are you a man? Are you a woman? Are you Black? Are you white? Are you Muslim? Are you Catholic? Are you Protestant? Are you Jewish? Are you Native American? Are you what? All the things that make us different, right? Or put us in a different category, perhaps. All of that, to transcend that and go on the vibration that we need to be on at this time. And that vibration is progressive values and changes and raising all boats and moving it to this less top-down energy and more sort of horizontal energy. And of course, with that horizontal energy, there is more chaos, because you have all kinds of people trying to figure out, still working in this sort of hierarchical sense. Ultimately, hopefully, some of the need for that, you tell me what to do and I'll do it kind of thing, will decrease to where we can start to connect with our own intuitions about things and start trusting our own intuitions about things, and then working together, that even if you don't agree with people, that you can still work together with them for a common good and a common goal. And discerning like what is most important personally, as opposed to what's most important collectively, and finding a balance point between those two things, because that's really what we're trying to do. So the Sabian symbol for 14 degrees of Aquarius is a train entering a tunnel. We've seen this degree before. The ability to short circuit the process of natural evolution by an exercise of mental skill and physical self-discipline. This is about consciously deciding that you're going to go in a direction of illumination, and how you can proceed and in a way boost your evolutionary potential. How do you do that? You pay attention to it, you focus on it. One of the things that the media does is it informs us, but it also takes us for a ride, and it's their story. So it's not like you have to be close to their story, because if you're close to their story, then you're like, alternative news. That's not it either. It's about, I think there's a certain amount of running things through your filters that needs to happen. That needs to happen. Of course, some people's filters are broken. Some people's filters aren't there. But, we're processing and we're learning. All right, so this is the trine of Wednesday, and it is a 22-4 vibration. So it is master spiritual builder. So there is information coming down that's going to be helpful for us to move forward into the future. The initial conjunction of this particular synodic cycle between Saturn and Mercury actually happened on January 28th, 2021, and 3 degrees of Aquarius. A deserter from the Navy is the symbol. And it says the individual self-realization through a crucial repudiation of a collective status which has become unbearable. What is it in the way that things are run that you can no longer abide by and tolerate? That was the initial conjunction of these two. So now with the trine, we're trying to creatively create something different. Something to creatively create something that we believe in, that we can live with, and that we can work for, and have behind us as a force to move forward into our lives. Not the old way, but a new way. So let's talk about Jupiter's ingress into Pisces. Now, Jupiter is going to be in Pisces from May 13th through July 28th. when it retrogrades back into Aquarius. It will re-enter Pisces December 30th of 2021. So it's going to be in Pisces, let's see, half of May, all of June, and all of July. So 2.5 months. During that time, we're going to get a taste of what it's like to have Jupiter in Pisces for the year 2022, because that's really when Jupiter spends the most time in Pisces. So we're getting a little bit of a, what is that when, coming attractions, as it were, coming attractions. And so let's take a look at this. The symbol, okay, so what did I write here? It will reattach. For 2.5 months, we will get a taste of what Jupiter and Pisces will be about in 2022. The symbol, saving symbol for 1 degree of Pisces, because that's when something goes into Pisces, is a crowded marketplace. Farmers and middlemen display a great variety of products. The process of commingling and interchange, which at all levels demonstrates the health of the community. So commingling, huh? There's a lot of separation, and some of it is because of the pandemic, right? We're still sort of in lockdown. Are still some things we cannot do. That will continue, of course, probably through 2022, not to the extent that we have it now, but it is not, coronavirus isn't going anywhere. It's just, what are we going to do about it, right? What are we going to do? And we can't just take care of the people in the first world countries. We have to take care of the whole world. It's a pandemic, all over the world, right? And so we need to work together cooperatively to work through this and figure out how we can both move forward and sort of safely remove some of the barriers that have had to been put up because of this. All right. So let's take a look at, let's take a look at this chart first. Of course, we want to look at the chart. Where is Jupiter? Pisces, where are you? Where are you, Pisces? There it is. It happens in the 4th house. This is for the US, right? But if this was a natural chart with Pisces in the 12th house, Jupiter in Pisces is, when you see Jupiter in the 12th house of a chart, I'll often say your guides are close, right? The angels are close to you. You have connection to spirit. That is true for all of us. So we have an access with Jupiter in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces to really access that cosmic consciousness, spirit, and ask for help. Guys, we need help. We need help. And it's not all just, boots on the ground, needles in the arm, pokey pokey. It's not just that, but it's also spiritual help from guides and angels and ascended masters who are here to help us through this. And for all of us who are waking up to realize that, oh, this is why we came on planet Earth. This moment in time is why we're here. Now, what are we going to do? Let's get working. So there's a lot of that realization happening as well. And we'll feel that with Jupiter and Pisces. And next year, there'll be even more of it. So more and more people are going to, I think, start to connect to the spiritual truth of why they're here. Jupiter is an expansive principle, but it can only expand within the realm of Saturn. So there's a spiritualization within the realm of Saturn. And Saturn is in Aquarius. So there's going to be, I think, a spiritualization of that Aquarian energy, which I think will be helpful in helping us to figure out how we're going to live with one another on planet Earth without destroying each other or destroying the Earth or destroying ourselves. There's a squirrel out there flicking his tail at me saying, I'm going to get on your feeder. They're good like that. So I'd like to look at Neptune to see where Neptune is in this when Jupiter moves into Pisces. Now, interestingly enough, Jupiter was the traditional ruler of Pisces before Neptune was discovered. Most modern astrologers use Neptune as the ruler of Pisces, but it is actually co-ruled by Jupiter. So Jupiter is in the sign of its rulership, which makes it powerful, makes it more powerful. So this is a powerful time with Jupiter in Jupiter in Pisces. So make the most of it in these 2.5 months. Really connect with spirit, meditate, go out into nature, do what you have to do, sort of get out of the monkey mind and get into the spiritual vibe that is available. We have to go back into the monkey mind to do monkey things because we are monkeys and we have to do stuff to survive, right? But don't spend all your time in the monkey mind. Make sure that you're balancing it with your spiritual connections. So 23 degrees of Pisces, which is where Neptune is at. Neptune is at, what is it, 2242. So we round it up to 23 of Pisces. And it says, materializing medium giving a seance, the ability to give one's own vital energy to substantiate one's conscious ideals or unconscious desires. The person who believes he or she has a mission or a mandate or any special gift can be of value to his community, must substantiate this belief. He has to produce results. Substantiation. It's time to get on the horse and go into battle. And I don't mean like shooting people or stabbing people or anything like that. I'm talking about this is the spiritual warrior. It's time for the spiritual warrior within to take up arms. And sometimes those arms are hugging arms. Let's just hug everybody. That a spiritual warrior can do that. A spiritual warrior can point out the uncomfortable to people. It's being a spiritual warrior is not being friends, making sure everybody likes you, but sometimes it's saying what needs to be said, and that's not always taken lightly or welcomed by people. So be aware that not everybody's going to be thrilled about this new sort of spiritual you. All right, so that's that, and I'm going to stop the share here. Oops, I'm going to stop the share here. Here we go. And let's do the card reading. Ouch. That was my elbow. I'm going to use the Wild Unknown because it was behind me. I love it. And of course, things are pretty wild and unknown. There's a lot of nature symbolism in this deck, and with the new moon in Taurus. So this is for the week ahead. But mainly, I think this will be a reading for that new moon in Taurus as well. So powerful week, powerful opportunities to change and shift our consciousness. Mr. Phelps, if you accept this. All right, let's get going here. I'm almost ready. Just want to make sure. See if there's anything else here that I might want to use. Sorry, I have my back to you. Any oracle cards here? I might have to. Well, we'll see what these cards show before I dip into the oracles. We might not need them. So this is the week ahead, and for the new moon in Taurus, 22 degrees of Taurus. Yeah, so check out where 22 degrees of Taurus sits in your chart, because you know that this is a new beginning. For me, it's in my 10th house. So this may be a more energy in my career. Conjunct my Venus, actually. I have Venus at 27 Taurus. So. All right, powerful, powerful time. Okay. Whoops. You have the Strength card to start. So the Strength card is a card of passion and compassion. It's a card of expressing, um, of roaring, right? Of having our voice heard. Leo is associated with the sign of Leo. Leo is associated with the heart. This is what you love. What do you love? What do you love? We have the infinity symbol here on this lion's third eye. As you sow, so shall you reap. So being aware that what you sow, you will reap. So it's not just speaking and having your voice heard, but it's understanding that what you say, you're going to be held accountable for. Let's see what's crossing it. We have the Four of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles can be a little bit of a stingy energy. In the other decks, the guy is like holding the pentacle over his heart, and he's got a pentacle on his head, and he's got pentacle on his feet. His whole world revolves around money, and resources, and not wanting to let go. So we know what we have to do. We know that we have to come from a heart-centered place. The challenge is, are we willing to put our money where our heart is? Are we willing to put our money where our heart is? We have underneath it all, we have the Hangman. That's about understanding what you can affect and affecting it, and understanding what you can affect and letting it go. So you can't let everything be something for you. You have to pick and choose what you have control over. And for the most part, we only have control over our own responses to things. But those responses do give out energy. And so it does create change, but it's not forced change. It's change that happens from a very, actually, connection to cosmic consciousness. So this is about making sure you're connected to source. And of course, with Jupiter moving into Pisces, we're all going to have our come to Jesus moment, I think. What's in the past is stalemate. So there's been some sort of stalemate in the past. That could be political stalemates, as in the United States with the Republicans and the Democrats. The Democrats wanting to go one direction, and the Democrats is the gas, and the Republicans are the brake. They've been obstructing for a long time, and now there's an internal revolution in their party. They're maybe tired of, maybe this whole backing Trump thing and the big lie really is just about them being tired of not doing anything. Maybe they want to get to policy, and they see Trump as an opportunity to push the agenda so they can actually do stuff, not necessarily what he wants to do. I think it's really just a symbol, because I think Trump's going to be in jail. What's in the sky? The Two of Pentacles. So this is balancing the books, balancing the money. But we see again, we see the infinity symbol, right? As you sow, so shall you reap. So we have to understand that the money that's going out is not just money going out, but there's going to be something coming in from it. And I think what's happening is the Republicans are saying, hey, money's going out. And the Democrats are saying, hey, look what this is going to bring to us. We have to be in a balance with that. We have to find somewhere in the middle. We have the Seven of Wands here in the immediate future. Seven of Wands is really fighting for what it is that you believe in. We can see the light is shining. So the light is coming, and the light is here, but there's still some obstacles to that understanding and that light. How it's seen from the outside, the Nine of Cups, getting our wish. We have the Son of Wands in the domestic situation. This is the Knight of Wands, and so this is about going on an adventure, going on a journey, following what you believe. In this deck, though, this is the rising of the Kundalini. So we're seeing that people are waking up to a reality. I think the people are way ahead of the politicians with this. They see what needs to happen. Maybe more acutely than the politicians. Hopes and fears, the 8 of Wands. That's for more information to come out. Some people are hoping for that, and there are some people who are fearing that. And I'm going to leave it to you to figure out who those people are. This is the 9 of Swords. A lot of anxiety, a lot of anxiety. One of the harshest cards in this deck. So the thing is with the 9 of Swords is there's a lot of anxiety, but it's not necessarily, it's more of a mind thing. Remember I said you have to get out of your mind, you have to get into that spiritual vibe. So things that are going to happen, if you stay in your mind, it's going to mess you up. I was going to say something else, but and we have the Father of Swords coming up. That is justice. That is justice. So understand that people are going to be held responsible for stuff. People are going to freak out and they're going to get all crazy, but ultimately they're going to be held responsible. We have the Mother of Pentacles here. This is making sure that families are taken care of. And let's see. We have the 4 of Cups. I feel that's the Republicans trying to poison the well. And transformation. Transformation. Death. Rebirth. And the Hierophant card underneath it all. This is the Taurus card, guys. 5. The Hierophant, the path of the triumphant intelligence. Listening to your inner voice, the small, still voice within, is the key. This is about wisdom. Oops, where are we? Come on, key. There we go. There's the key. There's the crow. There's the lightning bolt. Big changes coming with this new moon. And it's going to be shocking to some. But understand that we are waking up to a new reality that we ourselves have to put our energy behind and create. So what is it that you want to create? What is it that you want to create? Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Like and subscribe. Have yourself a great week. I love you very much. And take care. Namaste.